Sioux Falls ice cream shop is reopening after a car crash earlier this week. In a post on Facebook, Sweet Cheek says it will reopen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. A car crashed into the building Wednesday morning.
A sergeant with Sioux Falls Police tells KELOLAND News that the driver hit the gas instead of the brake and went into the building. No injuries were reported and no charges have been filed. The Sioux Falls Parade of Lights is set for tonight. KELOLAND News compiled everything you need to know for the 33rd annual Sioux Falls Parade of Lights.
This year's parade follows the same route down Phillips Avenue from 14th to 6th Streets and features 80 entries. The floats will include traditional floats, drum lines, flamethrowers, and other creative presentations from our community.
The Parade of Lights starts at 7:30 p.m. Phillips Avenue will close at 6:45 p.m. KELOLAND News will also be live streaming the parade on KELOLAND.com, KELOLAND Plus, and KELO Extra. Jordan DeSmit and Scott Munt will host the show, and Don Jorgensen will flip the switch on our holodeck tower before the parade.
Christmas trees illuminated the South Dakota State Capitol Tuesday night, kicking off the holiday season in Pierre. The annual tree lighting ceremony started in 1981 with 12 trees, but this year 98 trees made it into the Capitol.
This year's theme is Songs of the Season, and the tree decorators who were chosen came from across the state to have their shining moment. The display will be open to the public from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. through December 26th.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Good morning, Brian.
All right, good morning. Well, as we watch the weather for all the things going on, it looks like snow will be part of the equation. It's definitely the Parade of Lights this evening. We're expecting snow. Our upfront forecast is low 20s this evening, so grab your hot chocolate. You know what, though? It's going to be pretty. Just drive carefully because there will be some snow as we go through our afternoon. We're thinking the first part of this system will probably end up being a 1 to 2 or maybe a 1 to 3 inch type snow across eastern South Dakota. The second part of this system arriving tomorrow, and that'll kind of re-energize some of these snowfall rates in the southeast. That's why we bring those grand totals at least to 5 inches. It is possible we could go to as much as 10. Really, that fluff factor, that's what is the biggest part of that as we go into your Saturdays. So certainly as you watch the weather, make sure you're paying attention to conditions here. North Central, too. We got a winter storm warning in effect starting here this afternoon and through tonight. 26 today, Sioux Falls, 22 Aberdeen, 25 in Pierre, 38 Rapid City. More weather to come in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Brian. Dakota Wesleyan University and Mitchell Tech have combined forces to give their students more opportunities in education.
A student at DWU can now major in business administration, but also take classes at Mitchell Tech in 3 different areas: business, ag, construction management, and new this year, architecture and design. It allows students who want to play college sports to get degrees that DWU does not offer.
Football was kind of the main reason I was going to do a 4-year school. Otherwise, I was just going to go to a tech school. And so when I heard I could do both, you know, that was something that I was very interested in and really wanted to find out more about. So that's kind of how I ended up here, was just because I was able to do both.
Students enrolled in the program say they get the best of both worlds. Yesterday, people across KELOLAND were lending a hand and feeding their communities.
The Open Bible Church in Sturgis has been hosting a community Thanksgiving feed for over 27 years. In addition to feeding people who come to the community center, they also partner with first responders to deliver food to those who are unable to leave their homes.
We've been doing this for quite a few years between the police, the sheriff's department, and the ambulance. You know, anybody that's available. We take our volunteers for the day and get together and come down and help deliver for those that may be less fortunate and unable to get out or are restricted to their house.
This annual community feed provides over 600 meals on average across the city each year. A Sioux Falls nonprofit wanted to make sure everyone who needed a Thanksgiving meal received one.
The Union Gospel Mission prepared a Thanksgiving lunch for an anticipated 700 people. For many, the meal was more than just a plate of food.
Almost bringing a tear to my eye. It means a lot. Because there are a lot of people out there that's not going to be able to eat, you know. Don't know where their next meal is going to come from.
The mission's kitchen staff and volunteers prepared 20 turkeys, 100 pounds of ham, and 15 gallons of homemade gravy.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens.
All right, our weather forecast as we gear up for the weekend, and yes, the snow that is on the way. So as we look at things, the whole picture, this is today and tomorrow together. So we end up with a grand total prediction in Sioux Falls in that 5 to 10 inch range. So that's enough to tip the scales to a winter storm warning. Marshall, Minnesota is also in that. That number could be a little bit more of a fluctuation too, at least up to that 6 inch level. You go into northwest Iowa, that's where you're going to get your better forcing on the snow rates tomorrow. I feel more confident about Sioux City and Spencer, Iowa. Any travel that direction on Saturday is just going to get downright very treacherous and blowing and drifting snow, 6 to 12 inches. That just doesn't sound like fun at all. We go northwest of Sioux Falls. We got advisories for Mitchell and Huron. Right now, somewhere in that 5 or 6 inch range seems possible here. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on the low end threshold there at 3 inches in our forecast right now. I think that the numbers also will increase into the north central by the time we're said and done here. So Mobridge and Gettysburg, a winter storm warning also in effect there. Aberdeen and Watertown at this point, 2 to 4. You're just a little bit farther removed from the main parts of this system, but there's kind of a broader footprint of snow tomorrow that'll still encompass your area as well. The first leg of this coming out today, you can see how the snow originates in Montana, and then that snow line, see that arm is extending down into central South Dakota. So that's what's moving in this morning and into this afternoon. As the southern flank of that moves toward Yankton and extreme southeast South Dakota, I do think there's a chance of a little freezing drizzle, especially when you loft some warmer air up above this warm front and you get that into northern Nebraska and far southern South Dakota. There might be a little bit of that, and that freezing drizzle is never a fun subject. Now, the next part of this is going to come in tomorrow with the main low going to our south. The wind will pick up too. Don't forget about that. We've got some winds today out of the southeast in Pierre and Chamberlain. A lot of that's going to be occurring kind of as the snow departs. So once we get kind of into a lull, then the winds will ramp up there in Pierre and Chamberlain. Sioux Falls, as it's snowing, I think the winds are probably around 10 to 20 miles per hour. There is a steady wind, though, overnight. It's out of the northeast in Sioux Falls. And then tomorrow, that wind really picks up in Rapid City. So blowing snow. We're expecting at least 2 to 4 inches of snow in Rapid City tomorrow. Those winds will increase in Sioux Falls later in the day and into Saturday night. So if we get in that 5 to 10 inch range, you can plan on a lot of that snow's kind of moving around, and it's just not going to be real pretty on those roads Saturday night. So that's what we need to know, and obviously we'll be tracking all of that here in the Storm Center. There's a look at the hour-by-hour coverage and midday today. You can see the first leg of the snow from Mobridge to Aberdeen to Sioux Falls, and then you notice there's kind of a gap in between here this evening. So that's where we get this whole idea of round one and then round two, because it does change tonight. The snow is going to fill in here the middle part of South Dakota as those winds pick up out of the north and northwest, and then that fills in all the way east past our coverage area. You can take this snow all the way to Chicago. That's quite a large area, isn't it? So travel not going to be very good on Interstate 90 or I-80 or I-29 south of Sioux Falls. All of those segments will be pretty tough as the wind and the blowing snow will be an issue. So be advised of all that. Finally, ends up being cold early next week. We're going to be probably sub-zero by Sunday morning in the far north. Highs today, 22 Aberdeen, 26 degrees Sioux Falls, 38 in Rapid City. 7-day forecast. Again, a good bit of snow for tomorrow. Sioux Falls winter storm warning in effect. Sunday, cold and 16, and then we stay in the 20s next week with that fresh coating of snow on the ground. No danger of that melting anytime soon. Aberdeen in the northeast, sub-zero for lows early next week. We're going to stay in the teens for highs Sunday and Monday, and we're expecting Pierre in central South Dakota to likely be in the teens and 20s early in the week. Looks like we will get a break on the precipitation, though. No chances of any major snow going on early next week. Finally, Rapid City. It does warm up a little more. Rapid could make it back to 42 by Tuesday. More details online at KELOLAND.com.